feel like everything is over, this is just the beginning. Imagine living in a reality where rejection doesn't define you, where your worth isn't dependent on external validation. A perspective where rejection is seen not as a failure, but as a blessing. It may sound strange, but to understand, we must first delve into the world of Stoicism and discover how this ancient philosophy can transform our relationship with rejection. Following this line, in the next few minutes, we will embark on a journey where we will uncover the wisdom of the Stoics and how to apply it in our daily lives. I invite you to keep listening and discover why rejection, far from being a curse, can be a true blessing for you. Stay until the end and pay attention to the practical part of this video, the historical perspective on rejection. Every time we experience rejection, it's not the act itself that hurts us, but how we interpret it. This is a fundamental premise in Stoicism. If we could see the scene from above as spectators in a play, we would only see one person saying no to another. But in the mind of the rejected person, that no turns into a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. I'm not good enough. What did I do wrong? Why don't they want me? With their penetrating wisdom, the Stoics told us, people are not disturbed by things, but by the opinions they have about them. From this perspective, rejection, like any other external event, is essentially neutral. It has no intrinsic positive or negative value. It's simply a fact. The pain or joy we feel is a product of our interpretation. Reflect for a moment on a famous quote from Marcus Aurelius. If you are distressed by anything external, it's not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it. And you have the power to change that judgment. Instead of seeing rejection as a verdict on our worth, we can see it as a simple response, a different perspective, or even as an opportunity for self-learning and growth. Seneca, in his letters, presented a revolutionary idea. Gold is tested by fire, the brave by trials. If we adopt this perspective, rejection ceases to be a barrier and becomes a challenge, an invitation to question our own judgments, strengthen our resilience, and find a deeper purpose in our lives. Change your perspective with Stoic tools. With the tools that Stoicism offers, we can transform this experience into a source of strength and wisdom. In the next chapter, we will discover exactly how to do that. Rejection that drives success. Sometimes we face an obstacle, a wall, a denial in front of us, and the challenge of rejection stands tall. But have you ever considered that behind that wall, there might be a treasure waiting to be discovered, a world of possibilities, learning, and strength? The Stoics have a unique way of viewing the world. While many see calamities, they see training. When most people get discouraged, the Stoics get stronger. This perspective allows them to face any adversity with equanimity and courage, including the dreaded rejection. Think of it as training in a gym. You subject your body to resistance, an obstacle. But with each lift, your muscles break, only to regenerate and become stronger. Rejection, when seen through this lens, becomes the resistance that, if faced properly, will strengthen our character and resilience. Consider the lives of great historical figures who faced rejection in ways that many couldn't imagine. Take Thomas, the inventor of the electric light bulb. He said he failed over 1,000 times before creating a working light bulb. Every time he faced a failure, a rejection of his ideas and prototypes, he didn't give up. Instead, he saw it as an opportunity to learn and improve. Edison used to say, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Another inspiring story is that of J.K. Rowling, the author of the globally famous Harry Potter series. After facing multiple rejections from publishers who didn't see potential in her manuscript, she finally found one that did. But what if Rowling had allowed those rejections to define her worth as a writer? Both stories show how rejection, far from being an end, can be the beginning of something extraordinary. Rejection can be the catalyst that drives us towards success, provided we know how to harness it, how to handle rejection, historical tools for everyday life. What would you do if you had a tool that allowed you to face any challenge with serenity? If you could look adversity in the eyes and say, "I hear you"? Welcome to the historical toolkit for dealing with rejection. First, let's explore the dichotomy of control. This concept of our control and what isn't. Now think of rejection. You can't control how someone feels or thinks about you. However, you can control how you react to that rejection. This distinction liberates us from the burden of trying to manipulate the external world and empowers us to work on our internal world, our response. When faced with a no, instead of asking, "Why was I rejected?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" Take it a step further by practicing indifference. It's not about ignoring your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about not being dominated by them. Imagine your emotions are like the wind. They may blow strongly, but you, like a sturdy tree, remain firm, letting the wind pass through your leaves without uprooting you. Temporary emotions like pain or frustration in the face of rejection are like that wind. Recognize their presence, but don't let them topple you. After any experience of rejection, it's essential to engage in self-analysis, not to blame yourself or find faults, but to understand and learn. Ask yourself why you felt what you felt. Is there an underlying belief influencing your reaction? By doing this, you open a dialogue with your inner self, discover areas for growth, and adjust your perspective. Now, let's discuss 2 practical challenges you can start implementing today. Daily Stoic Challenge. Reserve 5 minutes every night to reflect on your day. Did you face any rejection or challenges? How did you react, and what did you learn? This daily practice will help you become an observer of your emotions and behaviors, providing clarity and self-awareness. Face Rejection Challenge. Over the next week, confront something you fear. It could be something small, like asking for a discount in a store, or something more significant. The goal is not to get a yes, but to face the fear of rejection and learn from the experience. Rejection is ultimately one of life's many facets. We can't avoid it, but we can choose how to face it. With the historical tools in your arsenal, rejection can transform from a terrifying monster into a gentle mentor, always ready to teach and guide you toward a stronger and wiser version of yourself. Benefits of rejection from a historical mindset. Sometimes the universe has mysterious ways of teaching us. Rejection, despite being perceived as a cold and desolate shadow, can actually be one of our greatest allies. Let me show you how. Rejection tests our character, just as a sword is forged with fire and hammer to gain strength. When we face rejection and choose to learn from it instead of crumbling, we strengthen our character.
I started in an Amazon fulfillment center, and now I'm a UX designer for Prime Video. As a single parent, I didn't really have a path into my dream of becoming a designer. Amazon was known for their career opportunities. It was a lot.
Rejection can be a sign that there might be another, better path aligned with your purpose and goals. Instead of seeing it as a closed door, view it as a signpost saying, "This isn't the place, but something better awaits you." Rejection stimulates self-awareness and personal growth. It forces us to look in the mirror, to question our beliefs, actions, and desires. It's a call to introspection, a journey of self-discovery and development. In this brief but profound journey through Stoicism, we've navigated the waters of this ancient philosophy and discovered how it can illuminate our path today. We've understood that rejection, while painful in the moment, is a silent teacher, inviting us to grow, strengthen our character, and reevaluate our life's paths. Viewed through the historical lens, rejection is not a sentence but an opportunity. I invite you, dear listener, to the next time you encounter rejection, see it with a new perspective. Consider this experience not as punishment, but as a disguised blessing, a gift that, accepted with wisdom and courage, can lead you to unexpected corners of self-knowledge and growth. As you continue to explore and embrace historical principles in your everyday life, remember that every challenge, every no, and every obstacle can be the fuel you need to ignite the flame of your evolution and self-realization. So, with an open heart and mind, face each day as a new opportunity, a new chapter where you can be the author of your own story, guided by the timeless wisdom of the Stoics. If you've made it this far, allow me to thank you for your time and attention to this video. Before you go, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. On the next screen, you'll find 2 videos that I believe you'll enjoy. Stay in peace, and until the next video. When you feel like everything is over, this is just the beginning. Imagine living in a reality where rejection doesn't define you, where your worth isn't dependent on external validation. A perspective where rejection is seen not as a failure, but as a blessing. It may sound strange, but to understand, we must first delve into the world of Stoicism and discover how this ancient philosophy can transform our relationship with rejection. Following this line, in the next few minutes, we will embark on a journey where we will uncover the wisdom of the Stoics and how to apply it in our daily lives. I invite you to keep listening and discover why rejection, far from being a curse, can be a true blessing for you. Stay until the end and pay attention to the practical part of this video, the historical perspective on rejection. Every time we experience rejection, it's not the act itself that hurts us, but how we interpret it. This is a fundamental premise in Stoicism. If we could see the scene from above as spectators in a play, we would only see one person saying no to another. But in the mind of the rejected person, that no turns into a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. I'm not good enough. What did I do wrong? Why don't they want me? With their penetrating wisdom, the Stoics told us, people are not disturbed by things, but by the opinions they have about them. From this perspective, rejection, like any other external event, is essentially neutral. It has no intrinsic positive or negative value. It's simply a fact. The pain or joy we feel is a product of our interpretation. Reflect for a moment on a famous quote from Marcus Aurelius. If you are distressed by anything external, it's not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it. And you have the power to change that judgment. Instead of seeing rejection as a verdict on our worth, we can see it as a simple response, a different perspective, or even as an opportunity for self-learning and growth. Seneca, in his letters, presented a revolutionary idea. Gold is tested by fire, the brave by trials. If we adopt this perspective, rejection ceases to be a barrier and becomes a challenge, an invitation to question our own judgments, strengthen our resilience, and find a deeper purpose in our lives. Change your perspective with Stoic tools. With the tools that Stoicism offers, we can transform this experience into a source of strength and wisdom. In the next chapter, we will discover exactly how to do that. Rejection that drives success. Sometimes we face an obstacle, a wall, a denial in front of us, and the challenge of rejection stands tall. But have you ever considered that behind that wall, there might be a treasure waiting to be discovered, a world of possibilities, learning, and strength? The Stoics have a unique way of viewing the world. While many see calamities, they see training. When most people get discouraged, the Stoics get stronger. This perspective allows them to face any adversity with equanimity and courage, including the dreaded rejection. Think of it as training in a gym. You subject your body to resistance, an obstacle. But with each lift, your muscles break, only to regenerate and become stronger. Rejection, when seen through this lens, becomes the resistance that, if faced properly, will strengthen our character and resilience. Consider the lives of great historical figures who faced rejection in ways that many couldn't imagine. Take Thomas, the inventor of the electric light bulb. He said he failed over 1,000 times before creating a working light bulb. Every time he faced a failure, a rejection of his ideas and prototypes, he didn't give up. Instead, he saw it as an opportunity to learn and improve. Edison used to say, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Another inspiring story is that of J.K. Rowling, the author of the globally famous Harry Potter series. After facing multiple rejections,
Listen to music without muting the...
I would have lived my life very differently if I'd known these life lessons sooner. After more than 2 years of searching, I've compiled 365 lessons in one place so you can use them in time to live a happy, regret-free life.
don't always show real love and warmth. Alexander the Great taught me not to use "I'm busy" as an excuse all the time. We shouldn't always say we're too busy with work as an excuse to ignore the people close to us. From Catullus, I learned how important it is to listen to what a friend has to say, be grateful for good teachers, and love your kids very much. Severus, my brother, taught me the value of family love, telling the truth, and being fair. I learned about important thinkers and leaders through him. He also helped me picture a world where everyone is fair and there is real freedom. He always stuck to his views, was kind, and never hid how he really felt, so it was always clear where he stood on things. Maximus taught me how to control myself.
Have you ever felt like society's standards were too much for you, or that you couldn't control your worries? You're not the only one if you said yes. A lot of us spend our whole lives worrying about things that may not be as important as we think they are. But what if there was a way to get out of this stuck state? A way to get through life with less stress and more peace of mind? We're going to learn a lot about a philosophical method today that could help you live a better, more fulfilling life. The art of not caring is not about being apathetic or not caring about other people. Instead, it's about putting our care and attention where it matters most, on things we can control, and letting go of the rest. This movie will take you on a trip through the knowledge of different philosophies and philosophers who have been here before us and left us with guideposts. What we're looking at here isn't just academic. It includes the calming philosophy of mindfulness and the energizing philosophy of Stoicism, as well as the existential courage of Soren Kierkegaard and the life-affirming ideas of Nietzsche and the individualistic core of existentialism. We'll also talk about cases and uses from real life. We'll examine how these philosophies have been used by real people and how, in general, not caring in the right way can result in more happiness, less anxiety, and a more complete life. But what do we really mean when we say not caring in a philosophical sense? Lack of care or worry does not mean total detachment. It means freeing ourselves from societal pressures, fears of the unknown, worries about things we can't control, and anxiety about what other people will think of us. Instead of spending mental and emotional energy on things outside of our area of control, the art of not caring requires us to concentrate on our actions, reactions, and attitudes. Understanding our limits and choosing what deserves our attention, hard work, and enthusiasm is what it's all about. It's about learning to be okay with not knowing what will happen and relishing the present moment with joy. You've come to the right place if you've ever felt like the world was weighing on your shoulders, or if you've ever wished you could let go of worries that are holding you back, or if you're just interested in learning about different philosophical views on happiness. We hope that by the end of this trip, you'll have a new understanding of how to handle the ups and downs of life with calmness, peace, and a clear mind. Join us as we show you how to free yourself by learning the art of not caring. Now is the time to go on a mental trip to learn more about yourself and how to let go so that you can live a better, more satisfying life. Before we start this journey, it's important to set the scene by looking into the deep connection between philosophy and happiness. How does philosophy help us define and understand what happiness is? Philosophy is the love of knowledge at its core. It looks at basic questions about life, truth, information, beliefs, reason, and, most importantly for our talk today, happiness. Many philosophers from different times and places have tried to answer the question of what happiness is and how to get it. From old Greek philosophers to modern thinkers, the main goal of philosophy study has always been to find the means of happiness. On the surface, the idea of happiness seems easy and applies to everyone. But when you look closer, you find that it has many aspects and is very personal and complicated. Our perceptions of happiness are typically influenced by our own experiences, our cultural upbringing, and societal norms. But the meaning of happiness grows and changes when we look at it through the big picture of philosophy instead of a particular view. So, how do different intellectual views see happiness? First, let's talk about the Greeks. One of the most important philosophers of all time, Aristotle, thought that happiness was more than just a feeling or a short-lived state of joy. He came up with the idea of eudaimonia, which is often translated as well-being or the good life. Aristotle believed that happiness consisted of living a good and wise life, reaching one's full potential, and making a positive difference in society. It wasn't about seeking pleasure, it was about making your inner life full. Epicurus, on the other hand, thought that happiness meant seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. Epicurean philosophy, on the other hand, doesn't support selfish excess. The easy, natural joys of life, such as company, educational interests, and peace of mind, were important to Epicurus. These philosophers, like Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, were utilitarian. They lived in the 17th and 18th centuries during the Age of Enlightenment. In their moral and ethical standards, they said that happiness is about making as many people as possible happy. Arthur Schopenhauer, a German philosopher who lived in the 1800s, had a less positive view. He thought that life was full of pain and that happiness was just not having to go through pain. Schopenhauer's philosophy says that we should lessen our wants in order to feel less pain and sadness. This changes the way we think about what happiness is. Then there were the existentialists of the 20th century, such as Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus. They thought that life has no meaning by itself, and that it's up to each person to find their own happiness and purpose. They embraced sincerity and personal freedom while rejecting societal rules. Also, we can't forget Eastern philosophy practices like Buddhism. Buddhism says that the way to happiness is to let go of desire and attachment, which leads to inner peace and enlightenment. These different psychological views make it clear that happiness isn't an idea that works for everyone. It's very personal and depends on our values, choices, and how we see the world. Whether it's through virtue, pleasure, the lack of pain, personal freedom, or spiritual understanding, different philosophies offer different paths to happiness. We will look at how letting go of some worries fits in with these different philosophical views on happiness as we talk about the art of not caring today. The goal is to find a reasonable and careful way to care about the things that matter to us, which will lead us to a happy and satisfying life. It's important to remember that philosophy doesn't give us solutions. Rather, it helps us ask the right questions. As we learn more about how to not care, let's keep an open mind, question what we think we know, and let these different philosophical ideas help us understand what happiness is. Let us start this interesting trip by learning from the deep insights into happiness that great philosophers have shared. Now let's talk about Stoicism, an old Greek philosophy that has become famous again recently because it has deep knowledge and useful advice for living a good life. Stoicism was started in Athens by Zeno of Citium in the early 3rd century BC. However, it was the lessons of late ancient philosophers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius that have stood the test of time and still speak to us today. Stoicism is a moral philosophy that stresses how important it is to be good, use your mind, and be disciplined. Things that happen to us are out of our control, but how we react is. Stoicism gives us the courage to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. It's a strong tool for learning how to not care. Now we'll talk about the Stoic idea of the duality of control. Epictetus, a scholar who used to be a slave, wrote beautifully about this idea in his Enchiridion, or Guide. He wrote, "Some things are within our power, and others are not within our power. Our opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and other things that are of our own doing are not within our power. Our body, our property, reputation, office, and other things that are not of our own doing are not within our power." This stark contrast reminds us to focus our time, energy, and emotions on the things we can control and not care about the rest. This doesn't mean we should be lazy or ignore our tasks. Rather, it means we should figure out what's really important and deserves our attention and care. It means deciding not to be upset by the things we can't control in life. This helps us keep our peace of mind and aligns us with the natural order of the world, which is one of the most important Stoic ideas. Stoicism's example of the skill of not caring can be seen in Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. As Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius had a lot of power and influence, but his works show that he knew that these things are temporary. He wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It's all in your way of thinking." He often stressed the value of inner peace and tranquility over external accomplishments or praise, showing us how to be patient by not caring about things we can't control. In his writings, Seneca and other important Stoic philosophers give more examples of this concept. He wrote that we shouldn't care too much about what's going on in the outside world, and shouldn't let bad things or good things get to us too much. In a letter, he said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without worrying about the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient, for he who is so wants nothing." By following Stoic principles, we learn not to worry about how our lives are changing and instead focus on improving our character, wisdom, and virtue. We learn to be happy with what we have, not caring about what other people do, and at peace with the world. Stoics don't mean that you should not care about anything. They mean that you should know where to focus your care and attention for a happy and peaceful life. We have now moved on from the Stoic school of thought to Epicurus's garden. Epicurus, a Greek philosopher from antiquity who established the Epicureanism school of philosophy, offers a different viewpoint on the art of not caring. Contrary to popular belief, Epicureanism isn't about engaging in physical joys or living a luxurious lifestyle. Rather, it's about understanding the nature of pleasure and desire and living a life of tranquility, freedom, and company. Pleasure to Epicurus was the most important thing in life and the greatest good. However, he stressed that not all joys are worth seeking. He said there are two kinds of joys: kinetic pleasures and catastrophic pleasures. Kinetic pleasures come from meeting a wish, while catastrophic pleasures come from being happy and pain-free. The great philosopher Epicurus said that the best kind of life is one in which we can enjoy the simple pleasures of life without being rushed by wants all the time. What Epicureanism says about societal standards and material wants is an important part of the art of not caring. Epicurus promoted a simple lifestyle away from the busy Athens society. His view was that many of our wants, like the need for money, fame, or power, are formed by societal standards and are not natural or necessary. Epicurus said that these wants often cause more harm than good because they are never-ending and keep us wanting more. Epicurus famously said, "If you want to make a man happy, don't add to his riches, take away from his desires. This wise view tells us to ignore the pursuit of material wealth and societal status in favor of cultivating inner tranquility and forming meaningful connections. Epicurus's ideas about fear, especially the fear of death, are also very interesting. He said death doesn't matter to us because death doesn't exist when we don't, and we don't exist when death does. Epicurus gives us the courage to let go of our fear of death, which frees us to live more easily and happily in the here and now. So how do these ideas make your life better? We can find happiness and mental peace by knowing what our wants are, telling the difference between ones that are important and ones that aren't, and learning how to control them well. We free ourselves from unneeded worries and stresses by deciding not to care about societal standards or the fear of death, which makes room for real happiness and tranquility. Epicureanism teaches us that happiness doesn't come from having things or being important, but from being at peace with yourself and not having to deal with pain or trouble. This philosophy teaches us to enjoy the easy things in life, like company, thought, and not having to worry about what other people want or fear. It also teaches us how to not care about other people. The Epicurean way of life tells us to rethink our wants and values, to let go of societal standards and pointless fears, and to enjoy life's simple, long-lasting joys. Let's keep these ideas from Epicurus with us as we go on our trip. Allow pleasure and desire to play a part in our lives, and let's learn to disregard things that don't include our long-term happiness. Thank you for joining us as we continue our philosophical look into how to not care. Next, we go to Denmark in the 1800s and meet Søren Kierkegaard, who is known as the founder of existentialism. Unlike the other philosophers we've talked about so far, Kierkegaard lived in a very different time and culture. The person, their emotions, freedom, choice, and subjective life are the main topics of Kierkegaard's philosophical philosophy. He thought that truth is relative and that each person had to figure out how to live their own life on their own. His works give us a deep look into the mind of a person by exploring anxiety, hopelessness, and the search for meaning. The jump of faith in the face of life's riddles and unknowns is one of Kierkegaard's most well-known ideas. Kierkegaard said that people who want to find meaning and get over their sadness should take a leap of faith and become religious. The idea behind the leap of faith is not limited to religion, even though it is often used in religious contexts, especially in Kierkegaard's works. This is about being okay with not knowing what will happen and having the courage to make choices without knowing for sure. Uncertainty is the root of a lot of our daily stress and anxiety. We worry about what might happen in the future and find it hard to make choices when we can't see what will happen. What if, though, we decide not to care about this chance? What if we take that leap of faith, know that we don't know what will happen, and make our decisions with courage and conviction? Kierkegaard said, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." This quote fits with what we're talking about because it reminds us that we can learn from our mistakes and gain knowledge from them, but we can't know or control what will happen in the future. So, deciding not to worry about what might happen in the future doesn't mean you're careless or don't care what happens. Instead, it's about getting rid of our crippling fear of the unknown so that we can fully live in the moment and do what we believe is right. By freeing us from the weight of fear and anxiety, adopting Kierkegaard's leap of faith could lead us to greater happiness. When we stop worrying too much about what might happen, we can focus on the here and now and do things that are in line with our values. We free ourselves to live an honest life without being constantly worried about what might happen in the future when we do this. Kierkegaard's psychological philosophy makes us think deeply about our own lives, our worries, and our freedom. He thinks that the leap of faith is a way to deal with the unknowns in life, not by trying to guess or control the future, but by facing these unknowns with courage and focusing on who we really are. Let's face the unknowns of life with courage, caring less about the things we can't control and more about living fully and honestly in the here and now. From the busy streets of Denmark in the 1800s, our intellectual journey takes us to ancient India, where Siddhartha Gautama, better known as the Buddha, created Buddhism, a deep philosophy and way to spiritual awakening. Buddhism is a non-theistic religion that has a special view on happiness, pain, detachment, and how to stop worrying about things that are temporary and will not last. In Buddhism, happiness is
in the world, and if he wanted, he could access all of his temptations and desires and have them fulfilled. But he chose to devote his life to pursuing justice and fairness. Aurelius found the time while he ruled to write Meditations, a collection of autobiographical writings that has grown to be one of the most important pieces of the Stoic philosophy. In his writings, Marcus provided instructions for personal development. These were mostly concerned with adopting a cosmic viewpoint and critically evaluating your judgment of others and yourself. Aurelius utilized his own Stoic philosophy when ruling a strong empire that endured several battles to let go of tension and worry, and to be the most capable and dependable leader he could be. Next to that, Stoicism is not only a theory, it is also a highly well-known and centuries-old philosophy that shows an inspiring and motivating way of thinking and living. The Stoics had a strong belief that acting morally was the key to achieving personal satisfaction, and that acting morally required good judgment and reasonable thought. With that in mind, in this video we will discuss how to create a rational mind using 5 key concepts from Marcus Aurelius's teachings that can help you think more clearly. Lesson 1. Train your perception. Marcus Aurelius says, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been." Controlling your perspective is one of Stoicism's most important values. Every interaction we have, every event we go through, every person we meet, even the scenes we view, all receive a value judgment from us. It was either good or awful, dull or enjoyable, beautiful or ugly. Unbeknownst to us, this is an extremely draining practice that might negatively impact our lives. For instance, judging every interaction you have had on a difficult day makes the day in general seem much worse. If you describe a party you attended as boring, that's all it will be. That one dull moment throughout your week. We frequently allow our emotions to dictate our early assessments of things, which implies that they are probably not totally unbiased. Additionally, we have a propensity to speak in metaphors and exaggerations that make situations appear worse, which goes hand in hand with our predisposition to criticize every minute of our lives. If your spouse leaves you, you could refer to your ex as having broken your heart, rather than admitting that they no longer feel the same way about you. Your feelings are influenced by the way you think and speak. The way you unknowingly choose to think about the incident, rather than the event itself, is what gives you negative feelings. In contrast, the Stoics advise individuals to use caution while making decisions and to carefully consider all they experience. One approach to being careful is to reverse your judgments, which simply means to look past them, be able to forget your initial instinct, and view anything through a more positive and rational lens. You may try to reframe that dull party as an opportunity to explore a different location and interact with some new people. Make an effort not to judge others. Afterward, you could realize that nobody truly connected with you, but you didn't go into the situation expecting anything bad to happen. The best way to begin retraining your perspective on life is to practice not judging everything based on your first impulses and feelings. Every time you have an opinion on something, try to ask yourself, is this rational? What is the foundation for my opinion? Is there a more accurate or optimistic interpretation of this? Marcus Aurelius emphasized that damages can only exist if they are thought of as such. This implies that each difficult event you have had looks more difficult than you think it is. As a result, you are in total control of the degree to which certain circumstances influence you. The Stoics also remind you to look for the opportunity or source of good in any negative event. The task known as turning the obstacle upside down is a method of developing a Stoic perspective. For example, you could experience dissatisfaction if a new employee is a slow learner and their errors reduce the company's profitability. This employee gets in the way of your efforts to be successful, efficient, and profitable. But this situation can also present an opportunity for good. You will get the chance to develop your patience, become a better instructor, learn how to integrate new employees into the team, and practice handling stressful situations. All of these abilities should help you make more money in the long term and be valuable in the future. On this topic, the classic quote from Marcus goes, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Overall, if you take the time to look at things objectively rather than exaggerating what you see, you can discover that life is simpler and clearer than you had previously imagined. Every scenario can be seen more positively or negatively. After you make the necessary mental adjustments, nothing will annoy you as much as it did, and you will navigate life much more successfully. Lesson 2. Learn to control your emotions. Marcus Aurelius encourages us to refrain from allowing our feelings to overcome what our minds are telling us. Put an end to your hypocrisy, selfishness, and irritability. It seems reasonable that acting irrationally is frequently represented as being in sharp contrast to acting out of emotion. Nothing may impair our judgment more than our own feelings. Therefore, if you wish to think properly at all times, one of the most crucial abilities to develop is the capacity to regulate your emotions. Marcus Aurelius believed that rage in particular does more harm than good. Contrary to common opinion, trying to regulate your emotions does not entail suppressing them. When you experience strong anger as a result of a betrayal, you cannot suppress it by denying it to yourself or others or by acting as though everything is okay. No matter how far inside you put the anger, it will still be present. According to the Stoics, regulating emotions like rage is accomplished by channeling them in a different direction. Therefore, when you next feel angry, consider what you can do with it. Although it may be tempting, can yelling at the person who injured you make things any better for you? Will it make the person you were deceived by any better? In other words, consider what you are inclined to do, then consider whether it is useful. If not, look for constructive ways to communicate your feelings. Perhaps if you gently discuss your feelings with the person who injured you and attempt to understand their perspective, you can get better outcomes. You may also write in a notebook, work out, play a video game, or do anything else that could help you release your anger eventually. Take anxiety or fear as an additional example. Although you can't just push it down, you can redirect it. Instead of allowing anxiety to paralyze you, you can use this anxiety to encourage yourself. Go do things that make you feel it, and observe its presence throughout. Let's assume you are too afraid to request a raise from your employer. Many individuals use this kind of anxiety as an excuse to avoid taking action and give in to their fears. Others might be able to handle it and view their worry as something that has to be suppressed and ignored since it is getting in the way of moving forward. Neither, though, has to be the case. Instead, you may express your fear in a healthy way, and it might even be beneficial. For instance, this anxiety causes you to contemplate everything that may go wrong, which may cause you to think about all the questions your supervisor might ask, all the arguments they might make against you, and how to reply. You may prepare yourself for them and create a strategy for every circumstance in this way. The fear, however, serves as a powerful motivator to push through, to test yourself, and to better yourself. To overcome your fear partially because of it, take the step in order to show yourself that where you can. In such a case, you can be conscious of your fear the entire time and say, "How awesome that I'm trying this anyway." Your capacity to remain cool under pressure and to think clearly and wisely will never be hindered by your emotions if you can easily redirect powerful emotions. The secret to a more calm existence is
You know, when it comes to living a life of purpose and meaning, there are certain principles that have withstood the test of time. Today, I want to share with you 15 timeless lessons inspired by the wisdom of Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, and my own experiences. These lessons can help you become better at everything you do, no matter what situations life throws at you. These principles are not relics of the past. They're beacons guiding us toward personal growth and resilience in the modern world. Whether you're well versed in seeking wisdom or just beginning your journey, these lessons will inspire and guide you. So let's embark on this journey together, exploring the profound teachings of Seneca through the lens of contemporary life. It's not about perfection, but continuous progress, and these lessons are the keys to a purposeful and resilient life. Fasten your seatbelts as we dive into this timeless wisdom. Remember, you have the power to apply these lessons in your daily life. Let's illuminate the path to becoming the best version of ourselves. 1. Seek challenges. Seneca was a man who understood the value of challenges. He knew that growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. Life often presents us with opportunities to step outside our comfort zones, and these moments are where we discover our true potential. Think about a challenge you've been avoiding. It might be a new project at work that seems daunting, a physical fitness goal that feels out of reach, or perhaps a personal fear you've been reluctant to confront. Embrace it, seek it out, because that's where your true potential lies. Remember, in the crucible of challenge, greatness is forged. 2. Choose your influences wisely. Seneca believed in surrounding himself with the right influences. You can't choose your parents, but you can certainly choose your friends and role models. Think about the people you spend the most time with. Are they inspiring, motivating, and uplifting you? Or do they drag you down and drain your energy? Make the conscious choice to be influenced by those who make you better. Consider this: the company you keep is like the air you breathe. It has a profound impact on your well-being. Surround yourself with individuals who challenge you, support your growth, and lead by example. They will help you become the person you aspire to be. 3. Focus on your response. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns. Seneca's lesson here is simple but profound. It's not about what happens to you, but how you respond. Think about a recent setback or adversity you've faced. Did you let it define you, or did you rise above it? Your response is your power. Consider it as the canvas on which you paint the portrait of your life. In every situation, you have the ability to choose your response, to shape the narrative. When life throws its curveballs, take a step back, breathe, and think about how you can respond with wisdom and strength. That's where true resilience is born. 4. Say yes to what matters. In a world filled with distractions, it's essential to say yes to what truly matters. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Consider your daily choices. Are they aligned with your long-term goals and values? Prioritize the essential and eliminate the trivial. In the grand scheme of life, what truly matters is not the sheer quantity of tasks you complete, but the quality of the impact you create. Remember, each yes is a commitment of your time and energy, so make sure you're dedicating yourself to endeavors that align with your purpose and values. 5. Be a master of yourself. Self-discipline is the cornerstone of personal growth. Seneca's philosophy was all about mastering oneself. It's about taking control of your actions, emotions, and decisions. Being a master of yourself doesn't mean trying to control or manipulate others. It means being in charge of your own life. When faced with temptations or distractions, it's the power of self-discipline that keeps you on the path to your goals. It's the inner strength to say no to instant gratification in favor of long-term success. Remember, the power to master yourself is a skill that can be cultivated and refined over time. 6. Protect your time. Time is our most precious resource, and once it's gone, you can't create more of it. Are you guarding your time like you guard your most valuable possession? Seneca's wisdom is a reminder that we often squander our time on things that don't truly matter. Manage your time wisely, and you'll find more opportunities for growth and fulfillment. Consider this. How are you spending your time each day? Are you investing it in activities that align with your values and aspirations? Be mindful of the precious moments that make up your life. Learn to prioritize and allocate your time in a way that reflects what truly matters to you. 7. Do the hard things. Seneca knew that greatness requires effort and resilience. He advocated treating the body rigorously, making it obedient to the mind. This concept applies not just to physical challenges, but also to mental and emotional ones. When you face difficulties, embrace them. It's through challenges that you discover your true strength. Whether it's the physical rigor of a demanding workout, the mental toughness needed to confront a difficult problem, or the emotional fortitude to navigate a challenging relationship, it's in these crucibles that you grow and evolve. So, the next time you encounter a hard thing, lean into it and remind yourself that adversity is the forge where your character is tempered. 8. Make others better. Seneca believed that making others better was a path to happiness. It's not about judgment or control. It's about being an inspiration and a positive influence. Consider the impact you have on those around you. Are you helping them become the best versions of themselves? By empowering and uplifting others, you not only contribute to their growth, but also elevate your own character. When you make the people around you better, you create a ripple effect of positivity that extends far beyond your immediate circle. It's a way of leaving a lasting legacy of goodness and inspiration in the world.
When you shop on Amazon.com, there's a good chance you're buying from an independent seller like Kyle. He had to move back in with his parents to launch his dog treat business, Paw Strike, but customers weren't biting. Then Kyle used Amazon marketing tools to get the word out. Now, instead of his warehouse looking like this, it looks like this. A bustling facility in Kansas and 50 team members, none of whom are his parents.
Hi, Mom.
GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Or just in time for the holidays. Get 4,000 purchase cash on select 2023 C.
9. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is a key component of a well-lived life. While Seneca didn't explicitly mention it, it's an essential aspect of Stoic philosophy. Take time every day to appreciate the things you have, from the simplest pleasures to the most significant achievements. Gratitude fosters contentment and resilience. When you acknowledge the blessings in your life, it's like filling your heart with light. Gratitude reminds you of the abundance that surrounds you, even in challenging times. It's a powerful tool that fuels your inner strength and helps you navigate adversity with a positive outlook. 10. Embrace continuous learning. Seneca's daily improvement philosophy implies a commitment to learning. Are you seeking knowledge and skills that can help you grow and adapt? Remember, learning is a lifelong journey, and every bit of knowledge gained makes you more adaptable and resilient in a rapidly changing world. Consider this. The world is evolving at an unprecedented pace, and staying static is not an option. Embrace continuous learning, whether it's acquiring new skills, reading, or seeking out new experiences. By doing so, you'll equip yourself with the tools and knowledge needed to thrive in an ever-changing landscape. 11. Embrace vulnerability. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but Seneca would remind us that embracing our vulnerability is a display of courage. It's the willingness to admit our imperfections and confront our fears. Think about a situation where you hesitated to be vulnerable because you were afraid of judgment or rejection. Seneca's lesson is this: vulnerability is the path to genuine human connection and personal growth. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you invite authenticity into your life, which, in turn, deepens your relationships and fosters personal resilience. 12. Cultivate resilience. Through adversity. Seneca's life was marked by adversity, and he became a shining example of resilience. He believed that adversity is not an obstacle, but a teacher. Consider the setbacks or challenges you've faced. Instead of viewing them as setbacks, see them as opportunities for growth. Seneca's wisdom teaches us that every adversity, no matter how daunting, is an opportunity to become stronger and wiser. It's in the crucible of hardship that we refine our character and develop the resilience needed to face life's uncertainties. 13. Practice the art of reflection. Seneca was a proponent of self-reflection. He believed that taking time each day to reflect on your thoughts, actions, and decisions is a crucial step in self-improvement. How often do you pause to reflect on your day, your choices, and your goals? Seneca's lesson is clear. Reflection is the compass that guides your journey of self-discovery. By regularly examining your life, you gain insight into your strengths, weaknesses, and areas where growth is needed. It's through reflection that you can make deliberate changes and progress toward becoming your best self. 14. Cultivate a robust mindset. Seneca emphasized the importance of mindset in shaping our lives. Your thoughts have the power to influence your actions and, ultimately, your destiny. Consider the narratives that play in your mind. Are they positive and empowering, or are they filled with self-doubt and negativity? Seneca's wisdom encourages us to cultivate a resilient mindset. It's about training your mind to focus on solutions rather than problems, opportunities instead of obstacles. When you adopt a resilient mindset, you become better equipped to face adversity with grace and determination. 15. Live in alignment with your values. Seneca was a strong advocate for living in alignment with one's values. Your values are the guiding principles that define who you are and what you stand for. Think about the values that matter most to you. Are your daily actions and decisions aligned with those values? Seneca's lesson is this: when you live in harmony with your values, you live with authenticity and purpose. You become a person of integrity, and your life gains a sense of meaning and fulfillment. It's through this alignment that you build a resilient foundation for navigating life's challenges. So there you have it, 15 timeless lessons inspired by the great Seneca, presented with a contemporary perspective. These principles have the power to transform your life, to make you better at everything you do. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress and continuous growth. I challenge you to take these lessons to heart, to apply them in your daily life, and to become the best version of yourself. I want to express my sincere gratitude for your time and attention. If you found value in this discussion and these principles, I encourage you to take a moment to like and subscribe to the video.
Where do we start?
Venmo is now available for 13 to 17-year-olds.
In the realm of profound truths that have resonated through the ages, we find the enigmatic power of silence. It is not merely the act of holding one's tongue, but a subtle art form that wields silence as a potent tool for wisdom, strength, and influence. Join me on this transformative journey as we unveil the 6 compelling advantages of embracing the art of silence within the world of Stoic philosophy. Silence, my dear listener, is not a mere absence of words. It is a profound expression of wisdom. The Stoics, like Seneca, understood that silence carries a remarkable weight in our interactions and decisions. It is a mirror reflecting the depths of our character. When we choose silence, we pause to think. We refrain from reacting impulsively, and we allow our inner wisdom to guide us. Silence possesses the incredible ability to unveil the true nature of individuals. It distinguishes the wise from the imprudent. The wise understand when to remain silent, and in their stillness they radiate intelligence. They grasp the art of waiting for the right moment, recognizing that words spoken impulsively can often lead to regret. It is in this restraint that they reveal their wisdom to the world. As Stoic philosophy teaches us, true intelligence isn't in the abundance of words, but in the thoughtful, deliberate choice of when to speak and when to hold our tongues. So as we delve into the advantages of silence, keep in mind the Stoic wisdom that emphasizes the profound significance of knowing when to let the world hear your voice and when to let the beauty of silence speak for itself. Therefore, in today's narrative, we shall discuss 6 advantages of silence. Advantage 1: strategic silence. In the world of Stoic wisdom, silence is not passivity. It is a strategic move that can disarm opponents and lead to victory. It is akin to a chess player contemplating their next move. Sun Tzu, the ancient military strategist and philosopher, understood this concept well. He often employed silence as a powerful tactic in The Art of War. Imagine a battlefield where soldiers anticipate your actions, yet you remain silent, letting the tension build. In that stillness, your adversaries grow uneasy. Their minds clouded with uncertainty, they're left wondering about your intentions, distracted by the silence. Sun Tzu's wisdom teaches us that when you make your opponent uncomfortable with your silence, their focus shifts from their objective to you and your strategies. This ancient strategy, rooted in Stoic principles, is a testament to the profound impact of silence. It underscores the idea that sometimes by saying nothing, we can achieve more than we ever could with words. Advantage 2: concentration through silence. Silence and concentration share an intimate bond in Stoic philosophy. In the stillness of our minds, distractions fade, and our focus sharpens. It's in this quietude that our thoughts gain clarity, allowing us to ponder deeply. While many may think that speaking and thinking are inseparable, Stoic teachings reveal the profound strength found in the ability to remain silent and reflect before we utter a single word. Through this practice, we unlock the power of true concentration. Advantage 3: silent magnetism. Silence possesses a magnetic quality, especially in noisy group settings. In a world often filled with noise, the person who chooses silence stands out like a beacon of serenity. In a crowded room where conversations buzz around you, a moment of silence shifts everyone's attention towards the quiet presence in the room. This shift in focus is a testament to the power of silence in the midst of noise. Silence becomes the center of attention, making it a potent tool for effective communication and influence, echoing the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Advantage 4: silence builds trust. Silence plays a pivotal role in building trust and deepening connections. To truly connect with someone, you must listen intently. Listening isn't just about hearing words, it's about understanding, empathy, and genuine interest. Listening is a humble acknowledgement that there's much to learn from others. By choosing silence and attentive listening, you not only bolster your own understanding, but also foster trust, strengthening the bonds between you and those you interact with. Advantage 5: silence fortifies. Inner strength. Solitude, often found in moments of silence, offers a transformative gift. It allows us to confront our true selves, devoid of the masks we wear for the world. In this introspective stillness, we discover our inner strength and recognize that our worth isn't dependent on external validation. Stoicism encourages us to embrace solitude as a mirror, reflecting our true essence, empowering us to stand confidently regardless of others' opinions or actions. Through silence, we find the strength that comes from within, potentially sweetening the deal. In negotiations, silence serves as a shield, concealing your intentions and prompting the other party to unveil theirs. Advantage 6: silence in negotiations. Silence emerges as a potent ally in negotiations. It's a strategic pause that can yield remarkable results. When negotiations reach a critical point, the art of staying silent becomes invaluable. Instead of immediately countering an offer that falls short of your expectations, pause and remain silent. This moment of stillness compels the other party to break the silence, often revealing more information or potentially sweetening the deal. In negotiations, silence serves as a shield, concealing your intentions and prompting the other party to unveil theirs. To recap, we've explored these profound advantages of embracing the power of silence within the framework of Stoic philosophy. From causing strategic confusion to enhancing concentration, building trust, fortifying inner strength, attracting attention, and aiding negotiations, silence emerges as a transformative force. Now it is your turn to take these timeless principles and apply them in your own life. Practice the art of discerning silence, knowing when to speak and when to let the beauty of quietude speak for itself. Embrace the strength that comes from within. If you found this discussion valuable, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community. We have a wealth of empowering content waiting for you. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to continuing this journey of growth and wisdom with you. Until next time, remember, sometimes the most powerful words are the ones left unspoken.
Give me some more challenges. Give me something more challenging. It's a pancake company. Come on.
There is a lot of talk in the historical community on the internet about how we should act and what habits we should have to become better and lead a virtuous life. But there is hardly any discussion about the habits we already have that are entirely negative for our lives. Epictetus said the following: "There are two vices much darker and more serious than the rest, lack of persistence and lack of high mastery. Persist and resist." Epictetus knew that the key to living rightly is to persist and resist. To persist means never stopping to make an effort and act correctly, even when we don't feel like it. It means developing new ways of acting that make us better. Creating good habits is not easy, so we need to be persistent. The other key is to resist. Resistance means avoiding temptations and bad habits that destroy us. In this video, I will talk about 6 habits that we all have in our daily lives that we should avoid if we want to live fully and happily. Before we begin, I would be immensely grateful if you leave a like on this video, as it helps me spread this philosophy to more people. If you don't want to miss any videos, subscribe and activate the channel's notification bell. First, stop wasting your time. I have this to say: we complain that our days are few, but we act as if they were infinite. Seneca thought a lot about the duration of life and came to the conclusion that many of us do not truly live. We simply exist. We waste our time doing things that bring us nothing and postpone what we have to do when we are lazy. We act as if we will live forever and do not realize that time is the most valuable thing we have. Nothing guarantees that you will be alive tomorrow or that you will be in a position to do what you desire. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, you could stop living right now. Let this thought determine what you do, say, and think. Let this reflection on time make you not waste it and value it as it deserves. The first step to living a good life is to start taking the time we have seriously. Second, stop emotionally clinging to things. The Stoics believe that we need to learn to let go, not only physically but also emotionally. If you made a mistake in your life, do not torture yourself with it. Learn from it so as not to repeat it again. Guilt and regret do not help. This does not mean that it is wrong to feel these emotions. These emotions help us understand that we acted wrongly. But once we understand that we acted wrongly and learn from the situation so as not to repeat the same mistake, we should not allow these emotions to continue tormenting us. We all make mistakes. Do not suffer excessively because of them, and always look for ways to grow from the error. Third, stop procrastinating. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations the following: "You could do something good today, but you choose to do it tomorrow." Or in the words of Seneca, all fools have in common that they are always getting ready to begin. We prefer to say, "I'll do this tomorrow," instead of saying, "I'll never do this." although many times when we postpone something, we never get around to doing it. If you have something to do, do it now. What is the point of postponing something you have to do, even if it makes you lazy? It is always better to do what you should do now, for several reasons. The first, as I mentioned before, is because our time is limited. And the second is that rest is more enjoyable when you fulfill your obligations. When you postpone something out of laziness, you feel guilty and know that you should be doing something instead of resting. You do not enjoy the rest in the same way because deep down, you know you do not deserve it. The worst part is that sooner or later, you will have to fulfill that obligation. So you have gained absolutely nothing by postponing it. Few sensations surpass the satisfaction of a job well done, and doing it well implies doing it at the right moment, not later. Fourth, stop being a slave. Seneca wrote the following: "He is a slave. Show me someone who is not a slave. One is a slave to lust, another to greed, a third to ambition, and all are slaves to hope, all are slaves to fear. There is no more shameful slavery than voluntary servitude." Seneca was right when he said that we are all slaves to something. Many times we are not even aware of it. We forget that to be truly free, we must have our mind fully under our control, and thus be able to resist the temptations that arise in our lives. The best tool to achieve freedom and master our minds is discipline. For some it will be harder than for others, but we must all remember daily, who is in charge, us or our impulses? Or in the words of Epictetus, no man is free who is not a master of himself. Fifth, stop settling for mediocrity. Strive for excellence every time you do something in your life. Ask yourself, did I give my best? If you look back on your life, you will realize that in many situations, you did not give your best. The question is, why are you doing something that does not deserve your best? And if it does, why didn't you give your best? Ask yourself this question in everything you do, and you must always give your best. We do not control whether we will succeed in our actions, whether we will win or lose, or whether we will be recognized for what we do. But it is in our control to try our best and give our best in what we do. Anything else that is not in our control should not matter to us. Why settle for doing something mediocre when you have the ability to do something extraordinary? Sixth, do not let anxiety dominate you. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote the following: "Today I escaped anxiety, or no, I discarded it because it was within me and my own perceptions, not outside. Events don't disturb me, only my judgment does." Anxiety does not help or improve you. It doesn't even help solve the problem. It's just a thought that torments you, thinking about what might or might not happen in the future. Realize that no matter what happens in the future, no matter how much uncertainty hangs over your life, you have already overcome worse situations before. Understand that you have the tools to deal with whatever bad things may arise in the future. Distinguish between the things you cannot control and the things that are under your control, and think about the worst that could happen. In many cases, you will realize that the situation is less severe than you thought. Do you have any habits in your life that you want to eliminate? I hope to receive your comments. I hope this video helps you get rid of habits that we all have in our daily lives and that do not serve us well. Eliminating these habits and incorporating new ones into your life, as I explain on this channel, is the path to lead a tranquil, happy, and purposeful life. There are things that are under our control and others that are not. Opinions, preferences, desires, and aversions, in a word, everything that is inherent. Our actions are under our control. On the other hand, the body, wealth, reputation, authorities, in a word, everything that is not inherent to our actions is beyond our control. This is how the manual or guide to life of the famous Greek philosopher begins. If you want to live a fulfilling life without an excess of soul afflictions, you must understand that there are things under your control and others that are not. Our duty is to spend our energy on what is under our command and ignore what is not. One of the greatest problems a human being can face is the opinions and judgments of other people. It's practically inevitable to be affected negatively or positively by them. If you truly want to avoid being affected, you must understand that the opinions of others, insults, or any type of personal attack are not under your control. In the Manual of Life, we learn how to act in the case of being the object of an offense. Therefore, the purpose of this video is to extract the teachings from the famous Manual of Life in order to achieve a mental state that allows us to reduce or eliminate all kinds of suffering arising from the judgments of others. Through 7 teachings or principles extracted from Epictetus's Manual of Life, you will learn why you shouldn't worry about external feelings and how to achieve a state where opinions cannot harm you. If you're new here, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on all the valuable content we're preparing for you. Number 1. Insults or offenses. Epictetus says, "Remember that he who insults or strikes is not insulted, but rather his own judgment that these actions are offensive." Therefore, if someone provokes you, keep in mind that it's your own opinion that is disturbing you in the first place. Try not to be swayed by appearances, for once you gain time and calm down, it will be easier to control yourself. One of the keys to not caring about the opinions of others is to understand that the insult or offense is not inherently harmful. The emotional discomfort that accompanies the insult actually comes from how we process that insult. When someone belittles you or disrespects you, think that this insult will only harm you if you allow it. If you react negatively, the true worth of a person should be measured by how much they can tolerate negativity. Unfortunately, life is like that. When you feel insulted or offended, ask yourself, do I want to win or lose? Do I want to yield to what I cannot control? Let me draw a parallel with Stoicism.
IHOP and Wonka are dreaming up a magical new menu. Magnificently mouth-watering items like Wonka's perfectly purple pancakes, the fantastical Wonka burger, and of course, hover choc pancake tacos. Every good thing in this world started with a dream, and now this one is a reality. Only at IHOP. Try the new Wonka menu.
And pleasures. If we want to stop being influenced by them, we must not fight against desire, for desire will never disappear. The difference lies in how we process that desire, if we completely surrender to it or ignore it. In this way, if you manage not to be disturbed by the insult, the satisfaction you will feel afterwards will make you someone superior and capable of advancing steadfastly through adversity. Surely you're thinking of that time when a negative comment ruined your day or week, despite your efforts. Let me tell you that I understand how you feel, as everyone has been in that situation at some point. If this is your case, I recommend you keep watching, as in the next principles, we'll address self-control. Number 2, maintain firm purposes. In this principle, we must understand that if we want to avoid being affected by the opinions of others, it's as follows. If you have the firm purpose of understanding philosophy, prepare yourself from the start to be ridiculed and suffer mockery from the crowd. Prepare to hear people say, "Suddenly he became a philosopher," or "Where does this arrogant attitude come from?" Make sure not to adopt that arrogant attitude and stay firm in things that contribute to your well-being. Remember, if you remain steadfast in your position, the same people who used to ridicule you will end up admiring you. But if you let yourself be convinced by others, you'll be ridiculed twice. Those who wanted to become philosophers. But even if you don't want to become a philosopher, this principle proposed by the Greek can be applied to any other aspect of our lives. This principle is essential, as many people neglect their true talents just to please dissenting voices. What Epictetus tells us is that if we allow our purpose to be influenced by the fear of others' opinions, we won't fail because we tried and didn't succeed, but because we yielded to the opinions of others. We shouldn't interpret this as a failure, but as a real problem. When a person gives up just to avoid social conflicts or to prevent others from opining about them, it's worth persevering, even if there is mockery or questioning for a while. After all, by moving forward, you'll be living according to your own nature. I recommend you think about this whenever you need to make a decision in your life. Consider your priorities and understand the true reason behind your choices. Number 3, don't worry if someone speaks ill of you. Don't let the idea of living in dishonor and being nobody anywhere worry you. For if not receiving honors were a bad thing, then others would have the power to make us unhappy, and that's not how things work. The truth is that you are only someone in things that are under your control and that depend on your decisions. This principle is indeed very relevant in our days. How many times have you done something you really didn't want to just to gain someone's approval, especially on social media? Social validation on these platforms can be like poison to a person. We should ask ourselves, is it worth changing who we really are just to get a little satisfaction? Is it worth putting our emotional well-being in the hands of others? My answer is clear. No. I recommend you reflect on this, as we've all been caught doing something that embarrasses us, but isn't malicious at some point. Why care if they laugh at you or marginalize you? In terms of popularity, do you truly believe your happiness depends on how popular you are? If you live like that, you'll be in constant conflict, as your happiness isn't in your hands. Therefore, you'll live in a constant state of tension, changing your essence not to lose status. One of the main points of Stoicism is to care only about what is under your control and become imperturbable regarding what isn't. Regarding insults, remember that nobody can hurt you unless you allow it. If someone harms you or speaks ill of you, remember that they act believing that they are right to do so. It's not possible for everyone to act according to what you consider right, but it doesn't seem right to them. So if someone judges you based on a false appearance, it's them who harm themselves with their mistake. Therefore, tolerate the person who insults you with patience and repeat to yourself, that's just what they think. Number 4, exercise high control. For an insult to turn into an offense, as Epictetus said, we must have the same respect for our mind as we do for our body. I'm sure you wouldn't allow a stranger to enter your house every day knowing the threat that would pose. Yet, when we receive an insult and process it as an offense, we allow that person to enter our mind and stay there for a few days. Because then, we allow strangers into our mind when we would never let them into our homes. To achieve a state where we ignore the negative feelings arising from an offense, discipline and self-control must be accumulated. Apply this to all situations in life, including with family. When you're angry, control that emotion, as it will prevent much unnecessary suffering and make you feel more at ease with yourself. Believe me, this will make a significant change in your life. Number 5, act according to your best judgment. We shouldn't be ashamed of being seen acting according to our principles, even if others may form a wrong idea of what we're doing. If we're acting correctly, why fear others' wrong judgment? This also applies to the use of social media, where we often allow our happiness to depend on popularity or validation from others. This leads us to act to please them instead of following our own path. Number 6, don't worry if someone speaks ill of you. If someone harms you or speaks ill of you, remember that they act assuming they are right to do so. But it's not possible to think that everyone would act according to what seems right to you, but not to them. Therefore, if they are judging from a false appearance, it's them who harm themselves with their mistake. Based on these principles, tolerate the person who judges you with patience, and on each of these occasions, tell yourself, number 7, no one can hurt you. Through this 7th principle, we analyze the motivation of the sender of the insult. And what it tells us is that we can't expect everyone to act according to what you consider right or according to your worldview. This way of thinking can be very harmful. We should consider the following reflection. Is it really viable to believe that everyone has the same worldview as you? Thinking like this is quite naive. Therefore, if someone insults you, believing they know the truth about you, deeply consider the following. You know who you are. You know what you think. You know why you act and why you do what you do. The only knower of the truth about you is yourself. So in the case of a stranger insulting you in some way, you must ask yourself the following. Did I act wrongly? If the answer is no, ask yourself, can I enter their mind and understand the reason for the insult? It's evident that you can't. Therefore, in the case of having acted correctly and facing ignorance about the motivation of the insult, you should be content, as you are the person in the world who knows yourself best. In the case of having acted correctly, you shouldn't carry the burden of regret. As Epictetus said regarding the person who insults you, that's how it seemed to them. To conclude, I would like to end with the following lesson from Epictetus. How much longer do you think you'll delay becoming worthy of the highest progress and following the teachings of reason? You have already received the philosophical principles with which you should be familiar. What other master are you waiting for to begin improving? You are no longer a teenager, but an adult. So, if you continue neglectful, lazy, and constantly postponing things, adding excuse after excuse and putting off the day you will dedicate to yourself, life will pass by while you remain ignorant until the day of your death. What did you think of the video? It's possible you've seen countless videos about Stoicism, but let me tell you, this video stands out exceptionally, making it different. It contains a wealth of ideas and perspectives that are rarely explored. Therefore, I urge you to watch it with great attention, because within these words lie treasures of wisdom. In fact, we encourage you to watch it more than once, as each viewing could reveal new layers of knowledge. Additionally, we suggest you take meticulous notes of each principle we will share with you. These timeless lessons could be the compass that guides you towards a fuller and more meaningful life. So, let's start exploring the 50 Stoic principles that will change your view of life. Don't miss the opportunity to control your emotions. Now, let's discover your true potential. Principle 1. Learn to distinguish what you can control. The Stoics, like Epictetus, invite us to delve into a deep reflection on the concept of control in our lives. Cognitive science supports this notion by revealing that constant worry about the uncontrollable can lead to high levels of stress and anxiety. Epictetus left us a pearl of wisdom by saying, "Do not expect events to happen as you wish. Accept them as they occur." This implies that instead of fighting against the currents of life, we should accept them and focus on our actions and choices that are within our sphere of influence. Principle 2. Virtue as a guide. The Stoics believed that virtue is the cornerstone of a fulfilling life. Positive psychology supports this idea by pointing out that the pursuit of personal virtues is associated with greater life satisfaction. Seneca leaves us with a profound reflection. The wise man is content with being wise, no more, no less. This statement emphasizes the importance of living an authentic life centered on personal values rather than seeking external approval. Principle 3. The power of self-discipline. Epictetus reminds us that self-discipline is an essential pillar for self-transcendence. Modern psychology supports this idea by demonstrating that self-discipline is linked to success in life. His teaching, "No one is free whose mind is not like a master," urges us to recognize how our impulses and desires can limit our freedom if left unchecked. Self-discipline liberates us from the chains of our momentary appetites and desires. Principle 4. The transience of life. Marcus Aurelius invites us to contemplate the ephemeral nature of existence. The psychology of wisdom supports this perspective by showing that thinking long-term reduces concern for superficial matters and helps us deeply appreciate each moment. As the philosopher Emperor reminded us, everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. This declaration invites us to embrace the ephemeral and live with gratitude for the present. Principle 5. Practice empathy. The Stoics advocated for empathy as a pillar of healthy human relationships. Modern social psychology supports this idea, demonstrating that empathy enhances the quality of our social interactions and our personal satisfaction. Epictetus challenges us to put ourselves in others' shoes, saying, "We cannot control the thoughts of others about us. We can only control how we react and respond to them." By cultivating empathy, we become more understanding individuals, more connected to our environment. Principle 6. The power of positive communication. The Stoics valued positive communication as a way to improve relationships and promote harmony. The psychology of interpersonal communication highlights how positive communication strengthens bonds. Seneca advised, if you wish to be loved, love. Practicing positive communication allows us to build healthier and more satisfying relationships. Principle 7. Respectful acceptance of differences. The Stoics advocated for respectful acceptance of differences among individuals. The psychology of diversity emphasizes how tolerance and respect for differences promote peaceful coexistence. Epictetus advised, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Practicing acceptance of differences helps us build more inclusive societies and relate to others in a more harmonious way. Principle 8. The power of gratitude. Gratitude is a fundamental value in Stoicism. Positive psychology emphasizes how practicing gratitude improves life satisfaction. Marcus Aurelius advised, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive. Practicing gratitude allows us to appreciate what we have and find joy in the little things in life. Principle 9. Patience in the pursuit of knowledge. Patience in the pursuit of knowledge is a value promoted by Stoicism. The psychology of learning highlights how perseverance in acquiring knowledge leads to greater intellectual growth. Seneca advised, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Practicing patience in the pursuit of knowledge allows us to explore ideas and perspectives in depth. Principle 10. Empathy towards others. The Stoics valued empathy towards others as a means to strengthen relationships and community. The psychology of empathy shows how putting ourselves in others' shoes improves the quality of our social interactions. Seneca advised, man is sacred to man. Practicing empathy towards others helps us build deeper and more meaningful connections. Imagine you see someone facing difficulties on the street, trying to keep their spirits up. By showing empathy and providing assistance, you not only help them overcome the challenges, but also foster a warm and supportive social environment. This small act not only reflects the Stoic spirit, but also creates a deep connection between you and others, making life more meaningful. Principle 11. Mental discipline. Cultivating a disciplined mind is a fundamental principle in Stoicism. Cognitive psychology supports the importance of mental self-regulation. Epictetus advised, you are a slave to what you do not control. Practicing mental discipline allows us to free ourselves from destructive thoughts and negative approaches, leading to a more balanced and mindful life. For example, when faced with a challenging situation, practicing mental discipline allows you to remain calm, rational, and focused, rather than succumbing to negative thoughts or reactions. This inner control leads to a more fulfilling and harmonious existence. Principle 12. Adversity as a teacher. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, considered adversity as an opportunity for growth and learning. The psychology of post-traumatic growth highlights how overcoming challenges can lead to greater resilience and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius advised, adversity is the test of a man. Only when he has been tested in adversity can he know himself. Through difficulties, we can develop and gain a greater understanding of ourselves. Imagine you are facing difficulties in studying and taking exams. Instead of fear and avoidance, you look at difficulties as an opportunity to develop knowledge and intelligence. Through overcoming challenges, you become stronger and have a deeper understanding of yourself and your abilities. Principle 13. Conscious decision-making. Conscious decision-making, emphasized by the Stoics, is essential for a meaningful life. The psychology of decision-making highlights how thoughtful choices can lead to more satisfactory outcomes. Epictetus advised, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Practicing conscious decision-making allows us to live in alignment with our values and goals. When you decide to learn a new foreign language to improve your understanding and expand your horizons. By identifying this goal and making a decision, you create a guide for a meaningful life and take the action necessary to get there. Principle 14. Persistence in virtue. The Stoics regarded persistence in virtue as the key to an ethical and meaningful life. The psychology of morality suggests that living in accordance with our principles leads to greater personal satisfaction. Seneca advised, "Virtue is the only good. Virtue needs nothing else." Practicing persistence in virtue guides us towards an authentic and meaningful life. Imagine a person in a difficult situation at work. Instead of reacting immediately to a stressful situation, he decided to show patience and control his emotions. This helps him solve problems more maturely and maintain positive working relationships with co-workers. Through the practice of patience in virtue, he achieves personal satisfaction and a more authentic life. Principle 15. Choose your response. Viktor Frankl demonstrated that even in the face of challenges, we still have the freedom to choose our response. As he said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is the power to choose our response. This principle reminds us that even in difficult circumstances, the power of choice and how we react is within our control. Using this power can transform how we experience life. Consider a challenging work situation. Instead of reacting with frustration, you can choose to respond with patience and problem solving. This principle reminds us that even in difficult circumstances, our power of choice can transform how we experience life. Principle 16. Embrace simplicity. The Stoics, like Seneca, embraced simplicity as a way to find inner peace. Research on minimalism shows that having fewer things can lead to greater happiness and mental clarity. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." This encourages us to simplify our lives, free ourselves from unnecessary burdens, and focus on what truly matters. Imagine you decide to reduce the amount of furniture and unnecessary things in your home. As life becomes simpler, you find more time and mental freedom to enjoy the more practical and important moments of daily life. Principle 17. The value of reflection. Self-reflection, as proposed by Marcus Aurelius, offers psychological benefits such as reducing stress and anxiety. As he said, "Nothing happens to any man that he is not formed by nature to bear." Reflection allows us to better understand our actions, emotions, and thoughts, helping us make wiser decisions in line with our values. Reflecting on daily life can help us shape our thinking and actions in a positive direction, understanding the true value of every situation. Principle 18. Willingness to change. Epictetus teaches us to accept what we cannot change and courageously change what we can. A positive mindset towards change supports this principle. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you that matters, but how you react to it that matters." By changing our perspective and actions, we can face life with more resilience and control over our circumstances. Imagine you're stuck in a difficult problem at work. Because you're stressed and upset about a situation you can't change, you decide to focus on improving your skills and reactions. In this way, you facilitate positive change and take control of your life. Principle 19. The importance of the present moment. Stoic philosophers highly value the present moment. Mindfulness psychology shows that living in the present enhances happiness. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This principle encourages us to cherish and make the most of the present moment, recognizing that the past cannot be changed and the future is uncertain. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes or worrying about an uncertain future, focus on being a good person in the present moment. Principle 20. Deferred gratification. Stoic philosophers promote delayed gratification as a means of self-fulfillment. Self-discipline psychology shows how delaying enjoyment can enhance long-term satisfaction. Epictetus said, "Temptation often comes in the form of an immediate opportunity to satisfy a desire. Practicing patience and self-control helps us achieve meaningful and long-lasting goals." Imagine you want to buy an expensive item. Instead of buying right away, you decide to delay the purchase and set out a savings plan. When you finally reach your savings goal, you can enjoy that item with satisfaction and pride for having waited patiently. Delaying gratification created a rewarding and self-fulfilling experience. Principle 21. The strength of resilience. Resilience is emphasized by Stoic philosophers and has been extensively studied in positive psychology. Marcus Aurelius advises that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice.